Be now.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I guess we're live now.
And we are live now and still don't know exactly what we're doing because that's what happens sometimes.
But we're giving the viewers, which we don't have any yet. I look behind the camera at us getting ready to record a podcast.
Yeah. Honestly, we have done this many times before. You can tell.
Yeah. And they're all pretty much exactly like what is happening right now.
It's true. It's true.
Where we fucking scramble last minute to get fucking everything set up to go. Okay, I think I'm good. Maybe.
All right.
Are we just going to go in order?
I think that makes the logical sense. I also kind of wanted to, start the episode talking a little bit about the news that came out last night.
No, we're going to end the episode.
Okay.
If you drop that right at the start, it's going to bring down the episode.
Okay. Fair.
I mean, it's up to you, but then we're going to have a somber episode following that, whereas we can close out the episode with that. And, I mean, it's still going to affect you and me on the recording, possibly, with how the news. Oh, well, fuck it, just drop it at the start. Let me just fucking start recording the podcast. If everybody at home is paying attention, we haven't actually started yet.
Are we ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I think I'm ready. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, record. Okay, here we are. It's our early September episode of the Pop Culture Experience podcast. I could say that right this time. I almost fucked that up. I really almost fucked that up. I do it every time. That's fantastic. Anyway, I'm Tyler. With me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Karen. We're doing something a little different today because not only we're recording the podcast for all you fuckers that like to listen to it, we're actually live streaming us recording our podcast to let the crazy ones who want to see us fuck up and do our shit, giving them
and other things that we like to do. So, drink.
By the way, yes, people, it is 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, for you.
And I am having myself a beverage. Anyway, so here we are doing our thing. Do you want to start us with a sad bit of news out of...
Yeah. When I got up this morning, there was some very sad news out there, and we have lost Chadwick Boseman, whom I know best personally as Black Panther. Died very young, 43, is from colon cancer, and I am very sad. I am wearing my Marvel shirt in commemoration, so unfortunately I do not have a Black Panther shirt at this moment, or at least not one that depicts Chadwick Boseman, so I don't have that right now, but I'm sad to hear this. He's too young, and I'm really, really glad that he was able to give us the movies that he did, even though he was sick at the time of filming too. So that's amazing, and I'm sad that he's gone. So yeah.
So there you go, a little sad bit of news to start it off, but we are trying to be an entertaining pop culture podcast here, so we're gonna have to turn the page and jump right on some fun shit. If any of you listened to our last podcast, we talked about the Fantasia Film Festival here in Montreal. We had a special guest on that talked about it. He's got a couple of movies in it. So staying kind of along the same lines, we have news coming from, or that you brought up, coming from the Berlin Film Festival.
Yes, yeah, the Berlinale. Of course, it is film festival sort of season right now. We've got the, and generally some of the award seasons. So we have, the Toronto Independent Film Festival, and we have international, and we have the Emmys coming up and all of this. But yes, the Berlin Film Festival announced this year that as of next year, so 2021, they will have gender neutral acting awards. And this is something that you and I had discussed way back in February when we were listening after the Oscars. We're sort of like, this shouldn't even be a thing anymore. So as of 2021, their directors, Marietta Rissenbeek and Carlo Chatrian, announced that the Silver Bear would be for Best Leading Performance and Best Supporting Performance by an actor or actress kind of thing. So I thought that was good. I think that is moving in positive directions. I think that should be sort of the way that it goes.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
as you said, we discussed this earlier, and we were both on board with the fact that we don't think any of the acting categories should be broken up. I mean, if you're the best actor, you're the best actor.
Mm-hmm.
We also said that there should be and this is what I want to see put into a film festival, is that there should be a best cast, a best ensemble.
Right. Yes.
Because you'll get movies that they have like 4 or 5 great performances in a film, and then everybody gets nominated for a supporting actor because nobody's really the lead.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you give the entire cast, the entire ensemble, a chance to win an award? So maybe with this happening, maybe changes are coming and some other things are going to get looked at.
We'll see. So I think it's a positive change. And they're also, the Berlin Festival is also saying they're going to have a physical event next year. But, well, that might be a little bit too soon to say on that kind of thing. So I'm not holding my breath for that one in any case.
Speaking of film, I'm guessing as we talk about this, Tenet should be opening soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because theaters are open, and Tenet was the first big one that was supposed to, that and the New Mutants. But I believe that's September 4th, which, so this upcoming Friday. Theaters reopening, Tenet going to be the big one in there.
You going to go and see it?
I'm on the fence about taking it in.
I
really want to see it. I'm not sure I trust movie theaters at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either, to be honest. I do want to see that one on the big screen, but I may have to just decide that my TV screen is big enough. So we'll have to see.
Well, it's going to be a wait, though, because that's not one of the ones coming out
for VOD. Yeah, unfortunately. But
whereas another movie, which we are going to be reviewing next week, doing the whole in theater and VOD at the same time, and that's Bill and Ted. So I can't wait for that. Everybody stay tuned because we are going to be reviewing that next week. Along with, what else? Boys. First 3 episodes, season 2. We're going to be reviewing that next week too. So there, 2 things to look forward to next week. But moving on from that, we have some. I'm not sure if this is good news. I'm not sure what to make of this. This is Netflix has decided to grab onto the Resident Evil franchise, and they are going to make an original series out of it. I haven't. Well, this might be because of all the games, the Resident Evil 2 and 3 that have been remade in the last while that have actually been stellar games. Okay. So maybe they feel that they can take the, I guess, the kind of uprise of popularity of the Resident Evil franchise again because of those and turn it into something.
Okay.
A series, because the Resident Evil series, the Resident Evil games do tell a fairly epic, long story. I guess a series would be better than movies.
Could be.
As long as Mr. PWS Anderson has nothing to do with it, I'll probably be fine.
Right. Have they announced anything to do with cast or director or?
No, nothing yet. Just the announcement of the show. I do know a little bit of the synopsis that it's going to follow 2 different timelines. So it's going to follow one with brother and sister Wesker. I don't remember their names, Billy and something. That is a before the outbreak.
Right.
And then another second storyline that takes place years later during the outbreak. So when we're actually fighting the T virus and zombies and blah, blah, blah.
Pre and post-apocalyptic, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
But that also throws me off because I'm like, what do I care about what happened before the outbreak? I mean, Resident Evil is about the outbreak, not about the lives of us folk before that.
Yeah.
And is it really just going to be fucking Walking Dead?
That is a risk, right? You know, like this has been kind of done. So I don't know what they're going to do that will make it more interesting kind of thing. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not going to doubt it till it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the Resident Evil games, and some of the movies were relatively entertaining.
Yeah.
Until they started going all fucking weird and a little excessive. So if they rail this back a little bit and tell more of an intimate Resident Evil story, kind of like the last two games were. They were like tight hallways and the police station and underground sewer, and like they kind of keep it as the almost claustrophobic feel that the games have.
Okay.
Might actually turn out fairly well.
If they work on the atmosphere, yeah, then that can be better.
Yeah, the thing with the movies is that they blew them up too much.
Okay.
There are these huge outdoor areas, and like it was like almost like a World War Z amount of like zombies chasing and everything, and that's not what the games have ever been. The games have been walking down tight corridors and being surprised by a zombie bursting through a window or one grabbing your leg. Like it was more almost a quiet, like jump scare style gaming experience.
Okay.
Not this huge onslaught of just thousands upon thousands of zombies. Like the movies went the wrong way, basically.
Okay.
So anyway, that's something to look forward to. Something else to look forward to is the rumor that we might be getting a Spider-Woman movie.
Yeah, from Olivia Wilde. I mean, she certainly proved her chops with Booksmart, which is an awesome little movie if you haven't seen it yet. So I think that I'm certainly interested to see what she can do. There is, I mean, there's a bunch of different like female-led Spider-Verse franchises that are kind of in the works between like Spider-Gwen and oh my goodness, what's it? Madam Web and all of that kind of stuff. So apparently this one is quite a separate thing, and they don't even know which Spider-Woman she's going to be doing, but the assumption is that it's Jessica Drew, I do believe. Yeah. So, and she had her own animated series back in the 70s as well. And I don't remember that.
Me neither.
I don't know I wonder if Canadian networks had that broadcast at all. We may never have gotten it.
Well, I mean, back in the time, I was a very dedicated cartoon watcher, and I watched the original Spider-Man cartoon, and I don't ever remember it being a thing. So,
but it was funny. Like when we were kids too, depending on where you lived, depended on what kind of networks you got. So when I would go to my grandmother's place in Hamilton, she got completely different Saturday morning cartoons than we got here in Ottawa. So I watched things like George of the Jungle when I was in Hamilton that I could never watch when I was here or there where you are. so yeah. So we'll have to see, but I'm certainly excited. I mean, I really enjoyed the changes that we have seen in the Spider-Verse franchise over the last few years. So I'm excited to see where they go with this.
That'd be good. Other news coming out of Disney. Raya the Last Dragon. Couple of notes on this is one, they have a new lead. Kelly Marie Tran from, of course, the last couple of Star Wars movies is taking over the lead from Cassie Stevens, I believe. That was who was originally cast. Okay. I'm not sure what the whole reason for the change is, but on top of the new casting news, there's also the news that this is going to be the first Disney film shot exclusively or predominantly or majority, whatever, remotely.
Okay. So is this a live action then?
No, this is an animated movie. Okay. So they were starting production in March when the world went to shit.
Yeah.
And since then, all people working on the film have been working on it from their separate locations all over the world, shit like that. So this is going to be the first Disney film that is actually brought to us pretty much 100% through remote filmmaking.
Oh, cool. So this is like really going to be a COVID film kind of thing.
Yep.
Neat. Okay. That is definitely interesting. Okay.
So now that's pretty much our main news and preview section, because we have a couple of big things that happened in the last 2 weekends. Last weekend, of course, we had DC Fandom, which we both dove fairly extensively into, and that's going to take up a fairly big part of our discussion today because lots of. Is this the year? Is 2021 going to be the year of DC?
Let's hope.
Will DC take over Marvel? Because if you look at Marvel's calendar, and now you look from what we saw at DC Fandom, you look at DC's calendar, there's some.
And it looks like they're finally. They might find. We'll get into that in a little bit, but looks like they're finally going to start doing something cohesive. And I am excited about this. So, you know, because that was always part of the thing that I really enjoyed with the whole MCU was that they were, you know, there were all these individual stories and then they were tying towards something much bigger. And now it looks like they're finally kind of moving in that. It actually feels like they're moving in that direction. And now I'm excited. And of course, the trailers that dropped, some of them like totally blew my mind. Like,
okay, but before we get to the ones that blew our mind, why don't we get to the one that shit the bed?
Well, maybe we should talk about fandom first. Like,
oh, fine. You want to do it all proper?
The whole experience of it. I mean, it was quite different than going to the San Diego Comic-Con. First of all, like there, how do I put it? It was a different kind of setup. They had it like an 8-hour schedule that was repeated 3 times over a period of 24 hours that you had access to, kind of thing. And you could go and check out all the different panels for Wonder Woman, Flash, Batman, so many different things. And I did enjoy these panels more overall, I would say, than I had enjoyed the San Diego ones. It was pretty easy to navigate around, like as far as going to see what you wanted to see. You know,
but wasn't this one time-based?
What do you mean by time-based?
Meaning that the panels were shown at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and you had to watch them at that time.
They were.
That's the one thing I didn't like that I did like that other virtual shows have done, where they've just tossed all the content out there and let you pick what you wanted to watch. It was all on demand. This was forcing you to be home at 11 a.m. on a Thursday to watch a panel. Well, I have a fucking job.
But, you know.
Whatever. People work, people have kids. We can't just sit down and just watch something at 9 a.m. and then again at 3 p.m. and then again at 11 p.m. Like,
seem to have addressed that because they turned it into a 2-part event. So the first part was on August 22nd, and then the second part is now going to be on September 12th. And the September 12th event has everything dropping at the same time. So it's going to be, again, everything available for 24 hours, but it will simply be you pick what you want to watch and when, kind of thing. So it won't be, or at least according to the way that the schedule is set up on the dcfandom.com page, where they have everything sort of listed. And we'll post that link on our social media as well, so you can find it.
Well, maybe DC Fandom, with the way that they had it set up, didn't go as well as they thought it was going to, because of everybody having time restraints on themselves. Like, I had to YouTube all of the panels later because I'm not sitting around watching all these panels in a row.
Yeah.
And you said you preferred the panels over. I
like the panel styles that we saw in this one, and maybe it was more of the subject matter. I don't know. Then I like them more than what I saw at San Diego Comic-Con overall. I still really like the Star Trek one from San Diego Comic-Con, but this one, I liked these in a general sense.
See, I didn't.
No?
I didn't like how a bunch of them went around.
Okay.
Like,
what do you mean?
We'll get to it. Like, we'll talk Zack Snyder's panel.
Okay.
Where it was literally like the cast of the Snyder Cut asking him pre-recorded questions and just having him like give out like almost scripted answers. Like there was no interactivity to it.
Well, there wasn't much of that in the San Diego Comic-Con.
I know, but San Diego Comic-Con, like we had panels of 4, 5, 8 people. Like take the conversation with Nathan Fillion, where he brought people in from this and that and that and this and this and this, but they were having a generalized conversation. Whereas Zack Snyder was like, okay, and here is Ben Affleck to ask me a very monotone fucking question that he recorded 4 weeks ago.
But not all the panels were like that. Like, for instance, the Wonder Woman panel was much more interactive.
Right, we were going to get, the Wonder Woman panel I actually enjoyed, which was odd because I was not a fan of what Wonder Woman showed.
Yeah.
Which all the other ones were different. I wasn't enjoying the panel as much, but what they showed was absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so do we want to start talking about some of the panels that we watched and kind of go a little bit in order, or how do we want to do it? What do you want?
Do we have an order? Yeah, of course we have an order.
Yeah.
We just mentioned it. We'll start with Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic panel.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought they had everybody there. Everybody was just shooting the shit. They were having like a generalized conversation. They were having fun. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, we had the addition of Linda Carter.
Oh,
who showed up, and everybody, it looked like it was a general surprise to everybody.
I think
when she got dropped in, because everybody was like, oh my fucking Lord. Fucking everybody was all shocked and abuzz. So, oddly enough, the Wonder Woman panel, fantastic. Mm-hmm. The Wonder Woman trailer, less so.
Yeah, neither one of the trailers that have come out for that film have been have enticed me to go and see the film. Funny enough, I'm probably still going to go and see it because, you know, it is still a Wonder Woman movie, but it doesn't feel, I still don't have a sense of the story at all. It looks like it's going to be an effects extravaganza. I mean, she uses her whip to like literally ride lightning. You know, like this is kind of.
Yeah, which puts me off because the one thing that nobody liked about the previous Wonder Woman movie is that its finale ended in just a big lightning light beam from the sky kind of scenario. Mm-hmm. And now you're just showing it again. It's like, it's kind of like a worst of, best of clip from the previous Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what it's going to be like.
I'm sure it's still going to be a great movie because the first Wonder Woman, for the majority of it, was a good movie, minus the misstep of the finale, the climax or whatever. But the rest of the movie was decent. So I don't really have any doubts that it's going to be a good movie. But so far, none of the trailers have engaged me to really want to go see it.
Yeah, no.
Now, something I really want to go see, and unfortunately it's like a year off, is Suicide Squad, based on what I saw from the behind-the-scenes footage of that, which looks like it is going to be an absolute clusterfuck of fabulous.
It's going to be, I think, a literal and figurative riot of action and humor, and it's going to be utter nonsense. Is what it's going. I mean, the right kind. I'm looking forward to it, and I mean, James Gunn has my faith as a director, so I'm sure that he will do an amazing job, and he is certainly, you know, putting it out there that this is the, you know, biggest, most exciting thing he has ever done in his life. What he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. If he's saying that, I'm like, good God, what are you?
Well, look at Guardians itself. Like everybody in that movie, maybe at the time, I wouldn't have expressed as a top tier actor. Mm. He took Chris Pratt from Parks and Recreation. He took Dave Bautista, who was a WWE star before turning into it. He took Zoe Saldana, who at the time was making her way up. She'd been in like a couple of good movies like Losers and some other shit, and then turned them all into like massive stars and made such a fantastic movie of like a group of misfits. Mm-hmm. Now he's getting an entire, like, have you seen the cast list for fucking Suicide Squad? It's fucking insane. Yeah. And again, it's a whole bunch of actors that you would 100% know, but maybe aren't like the top tier, minus like Idris Elba. But I mean, like everybody else, he's got like Pete Davidson and Nathan Fillion and fucking Taika Waititi and fucking, of course, Margot Robbie, who is now in the stratosphere because of her portrayal of like Harley Quinn and everything. But it's just an immense fucking cast, and the behind the scenes that he showed at DC Fandom looks absolutely staggeringly fucking. It looks a little fucked up.
It looks like it might be like it's a war movie. It looks kind of set in Vietnam, perhaps, or something along that line. And,
which does throw me off a little bit because we've seen all these characters in modern time. So is there a time traveling element to this movie, or is it a war style movie just set in present day, but stylistically it's going to look like a Vietnam or whatever movie? Yeah. I don't care. That hasn't been explained, or if it has, I haven't read it yet. But either way, I don't care. I'm just going to go fucking see it anyway.
There's going to be a weasel and a polka dot man.
How can you go fucking wrong with that? And staying along on the Suicide Squad path that we're on, a Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady has been announced, and it's actually going to be part of the Arkhamverse, which of course included the other fucking couple of Batman games from them: Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, Arkham City, blah blah blah. And you are tasked as one of the 4 Suicide Squad members, which are Harley Race. Who does Idris Elba play? Bloodshot, I believe. King Shark or Boomerang. And you can play. It's a massively open world where you're hunting down superheroes and supervillains and yada 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 as Task Force X, and you can jump in between the characters. Or if you have a couple of friends, you can play 4-player co-op online, each one of you taking over a character and just blasting your way through the city, hunting down. And the trailer was absolutely fantastic. It showed like the great like comedy that the Suicide Squad brings. And at the end of it, Superman makes a cameo appearance, looking as if he's one of the people you're hunting down. So, interesting little tidbit that you are hero villains going up against Superman, who looks like a villain hero coming at the end of it. So a little twist on a little whatever. Staying with the game front because I have nowhere else to go. Gotham Knights showed a trailer and some gameplay.
Okay.
And it looks good because the trailer starts out with a pre-recorded message of Bruce Wayne, Batman. And it's one of those, like, if you're listening to this, I'm dead conversations.
Right. Yes. I saw.
So no more Batman. And so now it's on to Batgirl, Nighthawk, Robin, and Deathstroke to take over the gauntlet of saving Gotham and being its heroes. Looks decent enough. Looks like it's got some good mechanics, good gameplay, everything. So I'm excited about both those games. I'm more excited about Suicide Squad because I think the storytelling and the writing and the comedy and everything will be a little ratcheted up for that. It'll be a little bit over the top, which I, of course, absolutely love. But Gotham Knight looks good too. And I mean, if we're going to talk about Gotham Knights, well, then we're going to talk about Batman. So then we might as well talk about Batman.
Yeah. Like, okay. We've been talking about the new, the Batman movie for some time now, like pretty much since we started this podcast, because of course they've been like leaking little bits here and there. And I'm going to say I didn't really give a flying. I didn't care. I was just like, oh, another Batman movie. I was just, I mean, I still love the character, but I was getting a little bit freaking tired. But now this trailer got me interested. I was like,
this trailer broke the internet.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it wasn't one of those trailers that like shuts down the internet, like fucking certain other things. But if you go on any type of social media, people that you may not have even expected cared about superheroes and whatever were literally like, have you seen the Batman trailer? Holy fuck. Like, it was just, it's a fucking fantastic trailer. I mean, the use of song, the fucking,
yeah, they used Something in the Way from Nirvana, which is, of course, one of their sort of moody. Well, I mean, all their songs are moody, but is a really dark, heavy song, and it fit the mood of the trailer perfectly.
Oh, yeah, so atmospheric.
The perform, like, we got glimpses of all of these different villains. I mean, we saw Catwoman, we saw the Penguin, we saw the Riddler. So maybe possibly an homage to Vandal Savage, but we're not really sure about that. We got to see the beginnings of Jim Gordon played by Jeffrey Wright, and he's amazing. You haven't been watching Westworld, but I haven't. He's freaking fantastic. So I'm really excited to see him play that role. And we get to see the Batman, not in an origin story, which is nice. And we get to see him sort of, but still in his beginnings.
Yeah, so one thing I do like is that this is a new Batman franchise, but they aren't starting with an origin story. This is going to be year 2. So he's still going to be kind of, fresh to the whole vigilante crime fighting thing. But at least we don't have to spend the first hour getting to know who the Batman is. because holy fuck, have we been there enough times?
Yeah. And it looks like they're drawing their source material from a bunch of different places, like The Long Halloween and Ego, and there's sort of a bunch of different inspirations for this. But we are going to be seeing Batman the Detective, which is, it opens with, the trailer opens with a murder scene, and, you know, the Batman being there as part of the investigation. And that is, you know, something that we haven't been seeing in any of the iterations that we have seen so far on screen. So I am actually excited. I think it will be interesting. It's going to be brutal if any of some of the violence that we saw in
his beatdown on that one clown faced fucking criminal is just, it's majestic. It's fantastic. I like that it's
not going to be there. There are some people that are saying that this might even be heavier than Nolan's Dark Knight. So
it's coming off that way.
So not the light and fluffy kind. Just, you know, in case.
But then again, did we ever really want a light and fluffy Batman?
Some people do. Some people want something a little bit more absurd, I think.
Hey, anybody out there that wants a Joel Schumacher Batman, fuck you.
I certainly prefer the damaged Batman because, well, quite frankly, the dude is fucking damaged. You can't not be to do the things that he does. But yeah, it'll be. I'm definitely very, very interested.
And anybody who actually enjoys the Joel Schumacher Batmans, I apologize. You're wrong, but I apologize for telling you to fuck off.
You're not wrong. It's just a different.
No. They are horrible, in my humble opinion.
Tyler is not humble, just in case you're wondering.
Anyway, I mean, if we're going to talk about Batman, why don't we just throw every Batman from the Batman universe into the Batman?
Well,
I mean, or I guess into the Flash.
Okay, so if we want to start talking about the Flash,
you can backtrack to the TV trailer and everything that you saw from that panel if you'd like first.
Fine. The Flash movie has been getting, you know, teased a little bit. They didn't show us much in the panel that was on DC Fandom.
Did they show anything?
They showed us the suit.
Oh, right.
So, but that was really it. They didn't really. It was you know, Ezra Miller being hilarious as he always is, and some general chatter. But what they did show, and that was particularly intriguing to me, is some clips from other franchises that might get brought into the multiverse via the Flash movie. So we already know that we're going to get two different Batmans. We know that Michael Keaton is returning, yes, and we know that Ben Affleck is going to be in the Flash movie as the Batman, or as Batman. So, but what they were also showing was like clips from like The Watchmen and Doom Patrol and all of this other kind of stuff, and it makes me wonder exactly how big they're going to make this. And I mean, the Flash multiverse stories really allow for just about anything to happen. And they were thanking Greg Berlanti, who has done a lot of the TV series, for opening that door and doing a really good job with the DC TV stuff that has been coming out in the last few years. And certainly the crossover events were always really fantastic. So I am super stoked for this film. I really like the character in Justice League as well. So this is good. We're getting a nice segue into later stuff here. But I really liked Ezra Miller as the Flash. I liked his sort of cockiness and all of, and his just sort of general attitude. So I'm looking forward to this very much.
Cool. Now, before we jump to what you just brought up, I guess we should talk a little bit about. I was slightly disappointed, but I mean, The Rock showing up anywhere is The Rock showing up anywhere.
Indeed. Yeah.
So him discussing and him talking about the Black Adam movie was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he came out, they had the cool backdrop. He was all excited talking about it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess similar to the Flash panel, little disappointed, no footage.
Yeah, well, I mean, they really got kiboshed by COVID, I think, when it came to getting into production. So,
but not even a picture of like The Rock in suit, in something like looking the part, anything. Just so I mean, The Rock, he was he was on point, and fucking The Rock was being The Rock, his charismatic self and stuff like that, talking about how excited he was about the Black Adam movie and everything. But a little disappointing that there was nothing concrete to show of it.
Yeah,
because I mean, if I'm going to tune in, to a comic, whatever, that is showcasing all these movies, usually you want to see something.
It would be nice, but you know, that's okay. Maybe more will come. You know, it will come as it can. Again, you know, we're dealing with delays that were unexpected, so you know, they probably did what they could. And
yeah, this is an unprecedented time in Hollywood. Like,
yeah. And as you said, you know, just having Dwayne Johnson being there and talking is usually enough. I mean, the man has a way with words. In fact, actually, just related to that and related to the news from this morning about Chadwick Boseman, his tribute to Chadwick Boseman is beautiful. So if you get a chance to read that, it's worth it. But yeah, so that was the Black Adam stuff. I'm still not quite on board. I mean, the dude has some crazy powers, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with it. But I'm not really excited yet, kind of thing.
Now, we are. Okay, we're both excited about this next bit of news, even though I am going to play devil's advocate. As we discussed, I think, like a day or two ago, when I got all excited about fucking the fact that we were going to talk about this, and then my brain shit itself, and fucking a whole bunch of stuff came pouring out. We're going to talk about, of course, the Snyder Cut, which we saw kind of an extended kind of teaser for. I don't really want to talk much about the panel itself, because listening to Zack Snyder just answer fucking pre-recorded questions, not as enthralling as it should have been, blah, blah, blah.
I fell asleep.
And there's your answer. But
truly, it was like, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was tired, but it's still, I fell asleep. So,
like, honestly, sometimes you just don't need the question and answer segment. Just show the fucking trailer and honestly get off the screen.
Yeah.
Especially since half the questions he was being asked and answered fucking had barely anything to do with the Snyder Cut or anything. It was just generalized questions about fucking his favorite superhero.
Okay.
Well, you've fucking made Batman films. Of course, it's fucking Batman. Like, so anyway, his panel was shit, but what we saw from the Snyder Cut does look. I'm very excited for it, and a little pissed off about it.
Okay, so before we get into why you're pissed, let's talk about the good stuff here. So first of all, the use of Hallelujah and Leonard Cohen's version of Hallelujah in the trailer was fantastic. It sort of underscored the tragedy of what was going on in this film, where we're dealing with the loss of Superman. We're dealing just I
can't decide whether I liked the use of Hallelujah or the use of Something in the Way better from the Batman trailer.
I've now watched like a couple of breakdown videos and as to the appropriateness of the use of that song in each of those trailers, and I am gonna say that the Hallelujah one might be a little bit more on point kind of thing. But in any case, it was gorgeous, and we got to see a bunch of the footage that had been released in trailers before that never got used in the movie or got used really poorly in the movie. And we got to see a new costumes for not costumes, but like new armor for Steppenwolf, which looks amazing. And he actually looks scary instead of like some weird cartoon demon creature that he looked like in the film. I am interested. So I was always interested, and I was always going to watch this. And we found out, of course, that it's going to be a 4-part, 1 hour mini-series event kind of thing. So,
and here is where I come in.
This is where Tyler's brain spun out of control yesterday morning when he was in the car.
Because, and this is the thing, is that everybody is going to compare the Snyder Cut to the original Justice League that we all fucking witnessed in theaters and yada, 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 which had its good moments, but of course everybody felt that overall was pretty much shit. We get it, blah, blah, blah. But if you want to compare the Snyder Cut with the original Justice League movie, then what I want is a fucking 2 hour and 15-minute long Snyder Cut Justice League movie, because my guess is it's not going to be that much different. Maybe a slightly different look to it, a slightly different style. Like you said, Stephen Wolf gets his makeover. Fucking Queer Eye got him, fucking did him up. I don't know. But when you give somebody, after a movie has been done, $30 extra million, a 4 hour runtime, and an extra year to do what they want, it's kind of an unfair fight. Yeah,
it is. True in that respect. I'm going to say that, you know, Joss Whedon wasn't playing with the same game pieces, right? So he wasn't given that flexibility. So yeah, that it's not going to be completely comparable. But it doesn't need to be either. You know, in the end, it's which one.
No, it doesn't. The thing is that it shouldn't be.
No.
These two movies, this movie and this fucking
miniseries,
this miniseries shouldn't be compared, because it's like putting two boxers in the ring. This one was allowed to work out for the last 6 months. This one had to eat McDonald's for the last 6 months for fucking 4 meals a day. Yeah. Well, of course, who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like, in the only way I will compare them will literally be that in a side-by-side way. It'll be like, oh, I see where, you know, this footage that Snyder had filmed but not brought in, or didn't get brought into the theatrical version, how it fits into the storyline and things like that. Like, it will be a very what's the word, analytical approach, as opposed to, I'm not going to be judging the artistry of the team that had to take over after Snyder had to.
And we might not, but I guarantee you a ton of people are going to. They shouldn't. I mean, these should be two completely separate entities. We have a Justice League movie that came out. It is what it is. And now we're getting a Justice League fucking miniseries, whatever you want to call it, put out. And to me, they should have nothing in common.
Yeah. We'll see.
Anyway, ultimately, so that was. Is there anything else from DC fandom?
Well,
I mainly stayed to like the featured movies and the featured panels. I didn't know if you checked out some other.
A bunch more stuff. So one of the things that I really want to say that I really enjoyed about DC fandom was that they were emphasizing that it was a global event. So this was not U.S. centered on the U.S. When they did have questions and guests, they brought them in from all over the world. So we had fans from like Bangladesh, we had fans from Brazil, Portugal, like all of these different countries. It was broadcast in 9 different languages. So there was an accessibility factor here and an inclusiveness factor that hasn't really been emphasized in the comic book world. It always feels very focused on North America. And I really like that they sort of expanded those boundaries really significantly. And one of the panels that I enjoyed the most actually was talking to all of the different Batmans from different countries. So they talked to the one from Germany, they talked to the one from Quebec, they talked to the one from Paris, they talked to the one from Italy, from India, like all of these different people who are the voice of Batman for those countries, because when they're listening in their native languages. And it was just like, you know, I hadn't really thought of it that way, that, you know, somebody would the resonance would be with a different voice, you know? So I really enjoyed that panel very much. And there was another panel that was, that I got to see was about Milestone Comics. So this was a series, or a section of section of DC that ran for like 5 years, from like 93 through to 97. And it was an all black superhero universe. And they are reintroducing the line starting in 2021, but we're actually going to get digitized versions of the previously released comics out online in the months leading up to that. And they are talking movies, podcasts, new books, new stories, all sorts of stuff. So we're going to get to see a revitalization of characters like Static Shock and I just lost it. I just lost the other 2 names that were right there. Anyway, my apologies. But there's a whole bunch of stories that that need to be told again or revisited, and we will get to see some of those come out. So I'm really excited to see that.
Cool.
Kind of thing. And there were other great panels where they talked to all of like some of the female leads, the black female leads in a lot of the DC TV that we see, like Black Lightning and in The Flash and in Titans and all of these other characters that can be inspiration for, you know, young boys and girls everywhere, kind of thing. So I was really excited about a lot of the diversity that was being shown in the panels.
Cool. Yeah. Is that it? I think that's fandom.
I think that's pretty much the bulk of it. I guess the one thing that we can talk about before we end it is that we have mentioned, of course, that there's going to be a second day where they release sort of everything all at once. And I took a look over what was going to be presented on that second day. So we're going to get stuff from the Titans series, Lucifer, Doom Patrol. There's going to be more stuff from Batman, more stuff from Harley Quinn. It looks like there's a bunch of good stuff to look forward to on that day as well. So I will definitely be tuning in for more than a few of those panels. And The Watchmen as well. And the panel for The Watchmen is going to be talking about expanding the Watchmen universe. And, well, considering what I just mentioned about The Flash and considering how amazing the series was, I am super excited. So, yeah, that will be the first thing that I watch, I am guessing. So, yeah,
everybody, stay tuned. What did you say, September 12th?
September 12th, yeah.
September 12th for part 2, I guess, of DC Fandom. So moving on from that, we'll go into another con of sorts.
Yeah.
And I checked out a little bit of Gamescom 2020, which is, of course, every year. It's kind of like the one step down from E3.
Okay.
But I actually thought it went off a little better than E3.
Okay.
E3 tried to do its virtual thing, but E3 just throws so much at you that kind of breaking it down into like a virtual thing, it was kind of like every 15 fucking minutes there was some fucking like family tree of shit to watch and panels and Hall H's and rooms and everything. It was almost a little too much to take in.
Okay.
Whereas Gamescom, they just really focus primarily on just fucking like world premieres. Like all they do is basically just show you trailers and gameplay of upcoming games. So it's really just like a kind of a visual fucking explosion of sorts.
Okay. So what's your biggest take from that? Like, what was something that you got really excited about?
Some of the highlights that I have written down here was, of course, they announced it was announced a little bit before it, but they showed a little more of the story behind it. Is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Okay. All right.
Which is, of course, the continuing. Every year they put out a Call of Duty game. It's kind of like the Olympics in a way that one year it's the modern era war, and every second year they go back in time. It's Vietnam, it's World War II, it's whatever. So this is going to be a direct sequel to Black Ops, which was put out in 2010 or something, I believe. But the one thing that they're doing is they're going back to a story-driven campaign.
Okay.
Literally, the very last Call of Duty that came out, Modern Warfare, fucking I don't know what, was basically 90% multiplayer and online shit, and they kind of tacked on a like 4-hour little fucking nothing of a story.
Okay.
Me, I'm a story guy. I really couldn't give a shit about multiplayer. I don't want to play a game and have some 6-year-old say bad things about my mom. Shit like that. So seeing this and actually seeing that they're re-putting some effort into the story-based gameplay. I mean, it's still going to have its multiplayer and it's still going to have its co-op modes and it's probably its Warzone mode, whatever you want to call it, blah, blah, blah. But seeing that they're dedicating a lot of it back to a story mode, I get a little bit giddy inside because that's what I like to play. Then we have 12 Minutes, which is a top-down, kind of looks like a Groundhog Day / Memento murder thriller.
Okay.
We got some great voice actors in it. We got James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe.
Cool.
So the whole thing takes place. It's your wife is murdered, and you are beaten as the suspected murderer or whatever.
Okay.
And it's called 12 minutes because from what I take of it, from what I understood, is you have 12 minutes each time to play through this little section of your life. And each time it plays through differently based on decisions you make and whatever. And I guess you're trying to figure out how to not have it happen.
It's like a choose your own adventure, but in a video game format.
Basically. And then we have, of course, for you, this one's all for you. They announced and they showed some a trailer for it, and I believe a little bit of gameplay. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. All 9 movies in one fucking Lego game. I don't think I've ever played any of the Lego games, and even I'm excited about this one.
You've never played it? Oh my god, the Lego games.
No, I mean, I've played the demos for like a Lego game here, like Lego Indiana Jones, Lego fucking something else. Fucking I can't remember.
Pirates of the Caribbean one. That's fun.
Okay. Yeah. Now the game. I mean, okay. Other games were announced: Unknown 9, Outriders, Teardown. One I'm excited about: Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh,
because this harkens back to like,
yeah.
Was it the GameCube fucking where they had Star Wars fucking Rogue Squadron or fucking Rebels or fucking something, and it was
something like I can't remember.
I can't remember, but it was the game. The gameplay was you piloting X-wings and TIE fighters and S-wings and fucking everything, and it was probably one of my favorite Star Wars games ever. So this basically looks like we're going back to that. You're going to be flying X-wings, the Falcon, TIE fighters. You play as 2 different characters, one on basically the Empire side, one on the Rebel side. Huge story-driven gameplay. Fucking get to dogfight and tie fucking X-wings and I'm very excited about that because, well, 1, anything to do with Star Wars usually fucking gets me going, and 2, anything plane-wise with fucking
anything flying. Yeah, I know. You have a thing. Felicia has chimed in that the trailer for the Lego Star Wars apparently looked really amazing. So I will have to go and seek that out and check it out.
Oh yeah, fucking, it looks fantastic. But I think the creme de la creme, the one that rose to the top for me was Little Nightmares 2. Little Nightmares should have been and possibly will be one of my hidden treasures on a future episode. Maybe sometime right before Little Nightmares 2 comes up, I'll do it. It is the most creepy, fucking atmospheric, oddball little game that I've ever fucking played.
Wow.
So in the first one, it looks like you are a little fucking orphan Annie wearing like a little yellow fucking rain slicker, blah, blah, blah. And you're trying to escape an orphanage that is run by these giant, creepy, almost like Tim Burton-esque, like claymation style, fucking like
sounds a little like Coraline.
Similar to that, where all the characters like you're trying to get away from the chef, and he's this big, bulbous, round, fucking like greasy, fucking like he basically looks like the horror version of like the Swedish Chef.
Okay.
And it's all physics based, and when you're walking across the floor, you have to tiptoe because if you make like a floorboard creak, they'll fucking see you. And it's so stylized, and the graphics and the gameplay and the atmospheric fucking it looked like, if anybody hasn't fucking checked it out, they showed a trailer, which was amazing. Then they showed some gameplay video, which was equally amazing. Little Nightmares 2. For me, so far, Gamescom is still going on as we're recording this. Okay. So I only got to watch opening night and a little bit from fucking yesterday's whatever. But if anybody's curious about any of it, go check it out. But definitely go check out Little Nightmares 2. And if you haven't played Little Nightmares, the original, slap yourself in the face and play it. Also, I guess, staying with fucking gaming news, as I get back into our fucking dock here because I lost my fucking place. Where's my gaming news?
Further down.
There it is. Oh, Another thing I'm very excited about. Actually, I'm going to say that. I'm going to skip ahead. G4 TV is supposedly coming back. So this is a show that I watched. It was all gaming news. Okay. It was gaming reviews and gaming news and gaming everything. And they had shows with fucking, can't remember, Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. And then, of course, they had Attack the Show, which was hosted by Olivia Munn, who is in talks to sign a multi-year contract to rehost that. And that's what we're missing right now is another show for gamers.
Okay.
So this is just going to be like a cable TV show fucking put on there and a whole bunch of little shows inside the show where we're going to talk about games. We're going to have game reviews. We're going to have gameplay trailers and everything. So I'm excited about that. What I'm most excited about out of the news that I've read in the last little while comes with a co-op mode to one of my favorite little indie games. And that's the fact that now there is going to be 2 geese. Say it again, 2 geese in the Untitled Goose Game.
Which looks like it will be hilarious.
And I mean, I've played this game. This is a fucking fabulous game where you're a goose. You have limited fucking abilities.
As you're a goose.
You're a goose. But you have a list of things that you have to do, like steal the gardener's hat, or get the gardener wet, or fucking turn on fucking the gardener's radio and distract him, and blah, 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 blah. And it's fun to play through all these things. But now you will have 2 geese. So you have basically 1 goose who can run interference while the other goose finishes off all the tasks. And this could fucking just bring up fucking epic amounts of hijinks and shenanigans. So I'm very excited for that. I don't know if it's just strictly online or if there's going to be like a local maybe split screen, or the fact that you're 2 geese, maybe you just play on the same screen. I don't know. There's definitely going to be online. I just don't know if there's going to be local, like you and your buddy sitting on the couch fucking playing on the same TV with 2 geese running around type thing. So I'm excited about that. And I guess seeing as it's September, and I'm guessing we're recording this for Monday release, and I believe Monday would be the 31st. So if I do the math and I carry the 1, 5 days later, there's a whole bunch of game releases. That's on September 4th. We have NBA 2K21, which is, of course, just the next iteration of the long-running 2K NBA series. They've all been good. The only problem with, I believe, the NBA series, similar to like the Madden series, somewhat similar to the NHL series, is a lack of competition. Causes maybe some no new fresh ideas to innovate, to bring anything new. So to me, it just looks like what I played fucking 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I mean, instead of spending $100 on NBA 2K21, I'll spend $29.99 on NBA 2K20, and it's the same goddamn game.
Okay.
So I'm not overly excited about that, only because, from what I understand, nothing is fucking new, other than a big tribute to, of course, Kobe, the Black Mamba. So, of course, he gets the cover art, and I believe you play through a small campaign as like dedicated to him, blah, blah, blah. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 gets a remake and a repackaging and a visual upgrade. So anybody who enjoyed the Tony Hawk Pro Skater series should be looking for this. Always came with a stellar soundtrack with like Sum 41 and Blink-182 and like pop punk rock alternative style things. And from what I understand, for the remake, they added like tons of new music, a graphical upgrade, new areas, blah, blah, blah. But the one that I am probably going to pick up, and the one that I'm most excited about, would probably be the Avengers game. So this comes out September 4th. It's a, of course, story-driven, kind of open-ish world. I mean, you're kind of on a linear path as you're trying to finish missions, stuff like that. But you can play, and I believe switch between any of the characters, such as Iron Man, the Hulk, Black Widow, Thor, Captain America, or Miss Marvel.
Okay.
And each one of them, of course, has their own abilities and their own.
Not Miss Marvel, right?
Miss Marvel.
Oh, Miss Marvel. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, like Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, so
Marvels, I get confused.
I know. Anyway, so they each have, of course, their own special abilities, their own unique style and gameplay, and you switch between them for certain parts of the game. Blah blah blah. Looks exciting. Looks like fun. Of course, later there'll be DLC, which will introduce other characters. I believe if you buy it on PlayStation, you get Spider-Man as a playable character. I believe Clint Barton, Hawkeye, is going to be a releasable character later on with some free DLC, whatnot, blah blah blah. So that's gaming news.
Cool. Well, we don't have too much streaming news, considering we're just really doing this on a week-by-week basis nowadays. So we, of course, did mention earlier about Bill and Ted coming out on September 1st, and we are definitely going to be watching that ASAP and reviewing that for you for next week. And otherwise, we had a couple interesting series. Of course, we have The Boys season 2 coming out as of September 3rd, 2nd? Shit, I don't know. Third, okay.
I think. It better be third. That's my birthday, and I'm going to watch that.
They're dropping the first 3 episodes, and then it'll be weekly after that. So we will do a review of the first 3 episodes. And we have the live action Mulan is coming out on September 4th. So we have talked about this before. I mean, I want to see this movie, but then they told me it was going to be $29.99 to rent this, and I was like, what the? And now, however, it's slightly better.
It's not.
To me, it's slightly better, and let me finish the whole damn sentence, is that you will, if you pay the $30 fee, which is steep, you do get to keep the movie and you're basically on your digital shelf for the entire time that you have Disney+. So I still don't think it's as good as having a physical copy, considering, you know, that's a lot for just a digital copy that you could then lose if you're no longer subscribing to Disney+. But it's at least slightly better than, you know, renting it for $29.99 and only having it for like 2 days or something like that.
We've been through that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for one, how about giving us rental options?
That'd be nice.
If you only want to rent it for 24 hours, you just want to watch it the once and have it be gone, then give us a $5.99, a $7.99, whatever rental. I am not going to spend $29.99 for a fucking digital copy of a movie when a couple of months from now I can just go buy the DVD for probably fucking, or the Blu-ray for possibly $24.99.
Likely at Christmas, right? Like
and then I'm not going to buy something for $29.99 and then fucking 2 months down the road decide, oh, I want to cancel my Disney subscription, and then my $30 movie disappears too. What?
I said, which we're not going to do because The Mandalorian. But
but honestly, The Mandalorian will not keep me on fucking Disney+.
Okay.
I can find other ways to fucking find myself a copy of the fucking Mandalorian if I needed to. There's illegal ways.
Yeah, no, that's not what I was making a face at.
Oh.
But yes, there are other legal ways. I agree.
So I'm just saying is that it's giving somebody a fucking digital copy of a movie for an extra $30 on a subscription that they already paid for, that if for some reason they decide to not pay for it anymore, you take away their $30 movie. So that's like, for $30, I should own the fucking movie for the rest of my life. Not just until you decide, well, now you don't want to fucking pay us our $12 a month, so now we're going to steal back your $30 movie.
Yeah.
That you paid fucking for, and if I had just gone to Best Buy for the same $30, would still own. So yes, I fucking want to see this movie, but not the way Disney wants me to see this movie.
Yeah. Otherwise, as far as new series goes, I am quite interested in Young Wallander, because I really enjoyed the Kenneth Branagh BBC series some years ago. It's dark, it's so heavy, but apparently the Young Wallander TV series is going to be more based on the books, and from some of my friends who grew up in Northern Europe have said that the books are really fantastic. So it'll be nice to see some of those stories come out. Of course, and that's coming out September 3rd. And we have Away coming out on September 4th with Hilary Swank as an astronaut and going to colonize Mars. And that looks, I'm interested. There, I saw one comment. It's like, we have seen some lackluster space series in the last little while. And so it would be nice to see something that is, well done. And then I'm thinking of Ending Things from Kaufman. So that comes out on September 3rd.
This was written up to be like a psychological, almost horror. When I watched the trailer, I didn't get that. I got the psychological aspect of it. I didn't get the horror aspect of it.
Yes, it'll be. We'll have to watch it and see what it's like. So yeah, so that's kind of what's coming.
Unless you just want to fucking gloss right over the other one.
The other one? You're gonna have to talk about that one because I don't know if I know anything about it.
What do you mean? I showed you the trailer. This is the fucking Ridley Scott produced fucking Raised by Wolves.
Yes, sorry. Honestly, you had to say it out loud, and then I realized what you were talking about. Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know a shit ton about this. I watched the trailer just like I'm sure other people did, and was absolutely fucking almost immediately fucking enthralled and eager to fucking see it. Aside from that, there's not a lot I can talk about it other than I believe it's basically a take on the Big Bad Wolf fucking story.
Yeah, so it looks like an AI that becomes responsible for children, and that's a definite twist on the AI horror sort of theme kind of deal. So yeah, this is good.
And then they kind of lean towards the fact that AI may not be as good and what it is supposed to be because we have somewhere in the trailer the introduction of, I guess, her brother.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't
Whatever.
know.
I mean, if they're AI, I guess they don't have siblings, but that's kind of what I think kind of alluded to.
Yeah, I think half the fun in this for watching that series is going to be simply that we don't know where it's going to go, right? Like it looks like hopefully it will be really unpredictable, and I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Okay, so that's news previews, that's Gamescom, that's DC fandom, that's streaming news. Now we get on to something fun.
Yeah.
Well, not that the rest of that wasn't fun. Just something a little more, I guess, personal for us. Yeah. A game that we a little game that we decided to play, where we had to create a soundtrack that kind of represented our lives through the years.
Yes.
So for every 5 years, so from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, blah, 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 we had to pick a song or two that kind of represented or meant something to us at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, the songs could be from before that era, but I couldn't use fucking Thrift Shop to fucking discuss me at 5 years old. Yeah, it had to be a song of the times or before the times or something that I would have listened to during the times. Yeah.
I mean, hasn't everybody who, enjoys a soundtrack to a film wanted to have their own soundtrack? And what would that be? Kind of thing. So we kind of got a chance to sort of play around with what our own soundtracks would be if we were, important enough to get biographies, which we really are not. But still, we could have some fun with that. So do we want to go back and forth with different ages, or do we want to just go one at a time?
No, we'll go back and forth. You can start 0 to 5.
All right. So the first song I had to pick here was The Last Farewell by Roger Whittaker, which is like a 70s Canadian classic because it is literally him singing about Canada because he had come here from the UK and really enjoyed his time that he spent there. But my mother used to sing that to me when I was a baby. So because it has this line that says, you are so beautiful and I have loved you dearly, more dearly than the spoken word can tell. And that would be the line that she would sing to me. So that is the one for that. And then the other one that I chose for that was The Orange and the Green from the Irish Rovers, which of course tells the tale of a family that has both Catholic and Protestant members. Of course, the Irish Wars were actively occurring still when I was a kid, but the song was just so funny and bouncy. And I'm sure that because we had this album in the house, this is probably what started me loving Celtic music for the rest of my life. So yeah, those were the choices that I made for my very young years.
Okay. For mine, 0 to 5. We're going to see a running theme through my songs for my younger years. But anyway, I'm not sure if I can get away with this, but I'm going to anyway.
Yeah.
This is a song from 1971 done by the Kids. Mm-hmm. This is a classic ditty. Tells the story about life on the streets. And for any of you who don't know how to get there, it fucking tells you how to get there. It tells you how to get to Sesame Street. And I would say that my youth was pretty much summed up by the fact that fucking every fucking waking hour of every day, the Sesame Street theme is probably running through my head.
And does till this day, more than
still does. So we're good with that. So yeah, Sesame Street theme song by the Kids, 1971. For me, that represented my childhood.
Okay. So the two that I picked for 5 to 10, we have Spanish Train from Krista Berg. And this is because we used to play, my brother and I used to get to pick the music for Sunday dinners. And we always used to do Sunday dinners as a family. We had that very typical sort of suburban middle class kind of thing going on Sundays. And Krista Berg was one of the ones that got chosen all the time, especially the Spanish Train and Other Stories album. And then the other one that I picked was Runaway from Del Shannon. I don't know if you remember these from when you were a kid, but for a while, the Shell Oil gas stations had those like solid gold cassettes, and they were all like 50s, 60s music.
Okay. Yeah.
You could get it when you purchased a certain amount of gasoline. My father got every single one of those because, you know, we went on lots of road trips, and that would be the soundtrack for every road trip that we took. And we took a lot of road trips because we had family that lived, you know, many hours away and we went and visited them quite frequently. So the one that I would play by myself all the time was this song over and over and over and over and over again, kind of thing. But yeah, I listened to a ton of 50s and 60s music when I was growing up. So that's like representative of that.
Well, you were listening to fucking classic fucking music. I was watching more TV.
You listen to other stuff too, but you know.
No. When I was a child, fucking being raised by a working single mother.
Okay.
The television literally was my babysitter.
Yeah.
So a lot of my influence, of course, was through TV and blah blah blah. So my two picks, I have two picks for 5 to 10, and that is the Muppet Show theme from 1977, and who can't get fucking the theme to Fraggle Rock out of their head as soon as it gets in there.
That's a good one.
So yeah, we're on a theme here.
Yeah, those theme songs are definitely reminiscent of happy moments, even in my childhood as well, for sure. So the next one is like 10 to 15. This is like super formative time for me, and I was listening to a ton of stuff, so I kind of had to pick things from like the opposite ends of the scale for this, because I mean, the first one I picked was Super Trooper from ABBA, because my parents had all the ABBA albums and they had recorded them, like taken them from LP, like vinyl LP, and put them onto cassette, and I would listen to them down in the basement with the other stereo system, and just listen to them over and over. It was probably like my first favorite band was ABBA. But, you know, through those 5 years, I started exploring a ton of stuff. We had things like video hits and also tons of 80s music happening everywhere. But then sort of by my mid-teens, things were getting a little darker, and I started listening to harder rock music as well. So I have Fade to Black from Metallica as my last choice for that one.
Good choices. Me, 10 to 15. I was still sitting in front of the fucking television. But instead of watching TV, we had moved to movies.
I see.
And actually, this is around the time that, from a young age, it was me, my two cousins, and my mom's best friend, Mel, had two daughters named Karen and Sarah, who, for all intents and purposes, were family.
Yeah.
They were like my sisters as much as like my two cousins, because we were so close as growing up. Were not really my cousins. They were fucking my bros, fucking shit like that. So the five of us would always be together. It was fucking like a whatever. And I remember back in the time, we fucking watched Footloose.
So many times.
But we would sit on the couch or stand in front of the couch, what was going on. And each one of us would memorize a different dance from the opening, just what the feet were doing.
Nice.
So we would sit there and be like, okay, my feet do this. And then the next person would move on to the next feet and shit like that. And so this happened with like Footloose. We'd memorize like the dance steps to that. Then I moved to like Dirty Dancing, and we memorized the fucking time of our lives fucking dance and shit like that. And another dance we memorized, which is my other fucking pick, is we memorized the whole fucking dance from Thriller. So my two picks from fucking 10 to 15 are Footloose and Michael Jackson's Thriller, because I have those dances memorized.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and they were played fucking like, if I literally hear Thriller one more time, I will shit myself.
I do believe actually it's his birthday today. Like it would be like the anniversary of his birthday today, if I remember correctly. I'd have to look it up, but
imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, that album changed everything when we were growing up, for sure. So for me, next one, 15 to 20. So this is like 1995 for me, or just before 1995. And I have Little 15 from Depeche Mode, because honestly, I listened to Depeche Mode from the time I was 11. I still listen to them now. They are probably the band that I have listened to the most, and have seen the most, actually, in concert probably at this point. And then the other one is Everybody Knows from Leonard Cohen. And these ones, Little 15 is about, a child's problem with their parents. And of course, in my teenage years, my relationship with my parents was pretty rough. And for Everybody Knows, that kind of is you start realizing as the song goes that the game is rigged, and you realize that winning may not really be as much of an option as you might have thought it was. So it was sort of the end of delusion, kind of, or end of illusion. I don't know which one you want to say, but yeah, that was a tough couple of years there, for sure.
Okay, so this is what are we at? 15 to 20?
Yeah.
15? Yeah, 15 to 20. I have 2 songs listed and 2 songs in my head that I'm going to add into this. I still had 2 extra. I never filled in my full complement of songs because I wasn't sure where I wanted to put them. So, of course, the first 2 that I have listed here, 1992's fucking Weekends. I mean, the moment that song came out, if you were fucking Canadian, if you were fucking a teenager around that time, it was the song of the summer. It was the song of fucking a decade. It was, for me, it's the song that defines the hip.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They've had so many good songs, so many good albums, but for me, that's the song that truly just is the hippish of the hip.
Yeah, I still hated them at that point in time because of who else listened to them, but I got over that later. So,
next on my list, going back a little bit, but when this movie came out, I wasn't of an age to watch it.
Right,
I found it years later and watched the ever living fuck out of this movie, and they're nothing. No, I think when we do start doing our top 10 videos, and we do one with the greatest endings to movies, this is going to be high up on the list. And of course, this is from The Breakfast Club. This is Don't You Forget About Me, and the whole scene where fucking Brian leaves the fucking, where the vice principal is fucking reading out the essay written by Brian about who they are and what they learned from that Saturday spent together and blah, blah, blah. And of course, you get Bender walking across the football field and he fucking does the whole fucking fist bump in the air. Well, Don't You Forget About Me plays in the background. And everything about that movie with the fucking the branding and the clicks and the fucking stereotypes of who everybody is and the people not fitting in with the other cliques and just the troubles of high school and everything. It just fucking really, it just gets to you. So my 2 wild card picks for this one, not really wild cards, they came around the same time, but this is all based on the fact that me and my buddies Greg and Jeff used to hang out fucking all the time, and driving up to their cottage fucking on Sharper Lake fucking around fucking the teenage years, we'd of course always listen to fucking the soundtracks that we made up. And 2 of the biggest songs at the time that we listened to at that time were 18 to Life from Skid Row.
Oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
Which is they don't really have a shit ton of meaning for me other than the fact that they were played every single fucking time we were in the car on these long road trips and shit like that. And the other one was All the Things I Wasn't from Grapes of Wrath.
Ooh, I love that song, actually.
That one fucking fantastic song. Fucking, I almost fucking completely forgot about the Grapes of Wrath. And then when we were doing this fucking little thing and I was searching songs from that time, that era, of course they pop up and I'm like, holy fuck. I remember listening to these guys fucking on any road trip. It was fucking these guys playing, the Hip playing, some Metallica playing, fucking Skid Row playing. Like, it was always.
I went through a whole Grapes of Wrath thing with the Empire Records live stream because they're part of that soundtrack as well. And I was like, oh my God, I'd forgotten about the Grapes of Wrath. And I was listening to everything, and All the Things I Wasn't was always my favorite from them. So yeah, cool. Nice. All right. And then the next chunk of time is actually.
Hey, I know this chunk of time.
Yeah, this would be around the chunk of time that we got together. So pre 2000. And I have two that I've picked here, but I could have picked so many freaking more.
This literally could have been fucking like a 30-song fucking date and time for me too.
I could make a 100-song playlist just for those years. But the one that I tried to choose, again, ones that were sort of representative of the time. And so the first one I picked is Waitress from Tori Amos. Now, Tori Amos is, again, one of my favorite singers from that period. Not as much into a lot of her newer stuff now, but Under the Pink was massive. And that song is so angry. And I was so fucking angry at that point in time in my life. So it really suited. It was, definite hostility. I didn't have very many female friends at that point in time because I didn't trust them very much. And that is really about female competition kind of thing. And then the other one actually was our song. So that one is the Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls. And that was just, again, sort of representative of a chunk of time in my life at that point in time.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Why do you don't have to feel bad.
I didn't pick Iris as one of my songs.
So, well, you don't have to. So anyway.
My guess is one of the reasons I didn't pick Iris as one of my songs might also be the reason why I saw that you changed fucking one of your songs from the fucking previous time fucking thing. Well, you originally had We Kings fucking put in there.
Yeah, because that was more part of that period of time of my life as opposed to.
I know, but you took it out.
I did. But less representative than the ones that I kept. So,
Right. Anyway, Iris, yes, it is our song. I understand that. But for my time at that time was getting to start me on my way to being my worst. Well, that was pretty good, eh? Because one of my songs is Home for a Rest.
Yeah.
And you'll have to forgive me, I'm not at my best. So a little bit of say, but yeah, that song is just indicative of the amount of dancing and partying and drinking and fucking everything that we did at that time, which was an ungodly fucking amount. It was
perhaps not the best behavior.
Not the best behavior. Fucking, I'm fairly sure in those couple of years, I may have almost died a half dozen times.
At least twice that I was there for.
Yeah. So, and my other one is Crash Into Me, Dave Matthews Band, because it's Crash Into Me and it's Dave Matthews Band. I don't have to explain it. I don't need to say any more about it.
It's just because you love it.
Crash Into Me and it's Dave Matthews Band. So that's that. So
the next ones were a little harder to choose, although the first one was not so much. So this is for me for 25 to 30, and I picked Control from Poe because it's sort of a song about her kind of regaining her self kind of thing, and I was trying to do a lot of that. There, the 10 years prior to that, it had been really fucking messy for me, and I was sort of trying to get my shit back together. So that was really. The song Control from Poe was really evocative of that. And then the other one is While We Were Hunting Rabbits from Matthew Good. And that is still my favorite Matthew Good song ever. And it's very existential. And it was something that I used to listen to really late at night when I was trying to figure out the universe. And it still can put me right back there if I want to. But it's not in a sad or angry or lonely way. It's just a, it's very contemplative.
So I went the other way because, well, you were spending your time finding yourself and trying to get to a higher plane, fucking whatever you want to call it, fucking bettering yourself. I was still on my downward spiral. Now, oddly enough, Downward Spiral from fucking Nine Inch Nails is not one of these songs, but it could have been. But my two songs are Take a Picture from Filter, which is literally a song about him not being able to remember each one of his days because of his drinking and his whatever. So he basically wrote a song about how he wished people would take a picture of the shit that he was doing so that he could actually remember it the next day, which I was having a very fucking kind of a less than well documented problem doing myself. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the second one is fucking Last Resort from Papa Roach. No. And that's just kind of indicative of the times for me where fucking I spent a lot of time on my own, a lot of time drunk, a lot of time contemplating shit, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Not
enough said.
Not an easy for sure. The next ones for me are a little bit more, again, a little more affirmative kind of thing. So I picked Be Yourself from Audioslave. I love that song. That song probably really got me adoring Chris Cornell kind of thing on a different level. I started appreciating him on his vocal talents in a different way than I had liked him when he'd been with Soundgarden and things like that. And also like I'd liked some of his solo stuff, but this was the song that kind of officially made me a fan of him. But also I really like the messaging in the song about, you know, you have to do what is right for you kind of thing, whatever that is. And just be yourself, as it says. And then the other one is actually the song for me and my husband. That it is Somewhere Over the Rainbow from Israel. I'm going to try and say this now. Kamika Ole. It's a mouthful because it's a Hawaiian name, but it is it's such a beautiful version of that song. And there's one of those perfect moments where we were driving down a highway in Hawaii listening to this on the stereo of the car at the time, and it was just like, oh, this is the best. So yeah, those two songs for that chunk of time.
My pick for this time was all because, again, from a movie. And this was around the time that I Walk the Line came out. So my song is I Walk the Line. It really could have been any Johnny Cash song, but because the movie came out and fucking basically the music of Johnny Cash was kind of revitalized and fucking thrown back to the forefront and shit, I was literally fucking like my driving tunes were literally just Johnny Cash fucking songs for like years after that movie came out. It was almost like a slap in the face to be like, hey, do you remember Johnny Cash? You're right. I should probably listen to Johnny Cash more.
Yeah. Indeed. No other reasons though, huh? The next two for me are from 35 to 40. So pre-2015 kind of thing. So this is when I finished my undergrad. So here I had like Feeling Good from Nina Simone, because I literally belted out that song once my house was empty and it was just me there. Because I was like, oh my God, I accomplished this thing that I have been meaning to do my whole fucking life. And so that was really wonderful. And then the other song I put here is Take Me to Church from Hozier. This was a song that when it came out, I was busy doing my master's thesis. My husband was traveling for work all the motherfucking time. But we both ended up really liking this song quite separately and finding out that the other one really liked it. And this was where we started doing concert tourism. So we found out that Hozier was going to be playing in Montreal. That was the closest place that he was going to be playing to us that we could get to. And we flew to fucking Montreal from Thunder Bay to go and see him. And the show was incredible. And I'm so glad that we did that. And then we've just sort of continued doing that well until, COVID and stuff. So, but nothing we can do about that. So I hope to, start doing that again sometime soon.
So my song of the 35 to 40 era was Ho Hey from the Luminaires, because honestly, you couldn't go anywhere without fucking hearing that song.
Yeah,
it was the song that was played fucking during Blue Jays fucking commercials. Fucking they used it as fucking one of their fucking songs. Fucking anywhere fucking on the radio. Fucking the kids would fucking want to hear it. Fucking, hey, play Ho Hey, play Ho Hey, play Ho Hey, play Ho Hey. Fucking blah blah blah. It was every fucking where, and it's still on every one of my playlists because it is just such a good, catchy.
I would say that song was pretty much the real start of the folk revitalization that we saw in that after that. Because I remember I didn't hear the song on the radio because I wasn't really listening to the radio very much at that point, but I caught the video. It was one of the ones that was like circulating around on social media, and the song was beautiful. It's just so cheery and sweet and all of that kind of stuff. And it was just, yeah, infectious. And that song definitely got me into that style of music. Again, I loved folk music when I was a kid. I listened to Peter, Paul, and Mary and you know, the Mamas and the Papas and all of that kind of stuff. And Bob Dylan and blah, 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 you know, so many of them. But that one sort of brought me right back, kind of thing. So yeah, that's a good choice. So the last one that I have, so that's like for the last 5 years, is a song from Amanda Palmer, whom I have been listening to for a little longer than that, but she put out an album called There Will Be No Intermission, and on it was a song called Just a Ride. And it talks about, you know, that life is kind of a disaster, but we're all in it together, and it's sort of the, you know, easier to deal with if we do it as a group than it is by doing it just by yourself, kind of thing. And that was, you know, and that it's going to be shitty sometimes and it's going to be great sometimes, and you just kind of got to take what comes. And so that has been kind of a mantra, and it might be kind of helping me get through all the last 8 months of this year. so yeah, that is why I chose that particular one.
My song, well, I guess there's two. I'll start off with Sleep on the Floor from the Luminaires. Just a fantastic song.
Beautiful.
And I love like the, I guess, well, what I perceive to be the message behind it about how just not wanting to, I guess, settle, just not wanting to settle.
Yeah.
Wanting to get out and fucking live life, and it doesn't matter, as fucking the title says, that you have to sleep on the floor. It's fucking traveling. It's fucking doing what you want. It's getting out of your fucking little small, in the case of this, whether it's metaphorical or not, your little small town, and fucking getting out of like the shackles of life and just
cultural restraint and
right, and just getting out there and living. And my other one, because, well, you did your fucking, I guess, climbing out from the fucking dirt 20 years before I decided to. My fucking song for fucking 40 to 45 is I'll Wait from the Strumbellas, which really comes down to one line, well, one segment of the song where he just talks about fucking how he'll face his demons and he'll change for like in the song, it's for somebody, like to show them that he cares about them. He's going to change his ways. And in order to be with them, he's going to face his demons and stuff like that, where I may not take it exactly that way. I did take it that I've changed. I mean, from me 20 years ago to now, it's fucking different person. I've faced fucking most of my demons, whether I've defeated them or not. Meh. But I faced them and shit like that. So just that kind of representation. It might not be for another person. It's for me that I've done this, but still the lyrics and whatever still kind of hit home in that way.
It's a beautiful song. Everybody should listen to that one if you haven't heard it already. It's a really great one. Maybe we should post that video, in fact.
Maybe we should.
I don't see why not. You know. Anyway, so we will put out our playlists on our social media, and along with all of the links to the trailers that we were talking about earlier in the episode. So if you want to catch all of the DC fandom craziness that we got to be a part of, then you can join in on that too. You can probably find a lot of those panels online too if you want to take a look for them. Because you know, I don't know how legit they are, mind you, but anyway, so I think that kind of brings it to
all those panels are on YouTube.
Okay, well, there we go. So, done. You know,
I mean, that's where I've watched. Well,
that
I'm not 100% sure if the panels are on YouTube, but I know all the trailers and stuff that we talked about, of course, are on YouTube.
I saw one of the panels on YouTube. So, you know, when I was flitting around looking at trailer stuff earlier today. So, they're out there.
And I mean, if you're going to go online and you're going to be looking for shit like fucking Fandom and Gamescom and some of the shit we talked about, you can also go online and look for us. Because if you see down here below us,
look, see
along the fucking bottom. I'm not even going to bother reading them out because there they are, and I'm sure most of you are capable of reading. So yeah, so I guess that's the episode.
That's pretty much everything for today, for this week.
Stay tuned next week, of course, when we're going to be talking about stuff.
More stuff.
So we haven't figured out yet, but again, two things we do know we're doing is we're doing a couple of reviews. We're going to review Bill and Ted. And we're going to review the first 3 episodes of The Boys, which we mentioned earlier. And yeah, so other than that, that's this episode. We hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, have fun. I hope you guys have an awesome week. And we'll see you soon.
Ciao.